Good morning and welcome back to BIFA TV, your daily dose of industry information. Today I'm joined by Ian Matheson for this week's edition of What the Papers Say. Good morning, Ian. How are you doing?
Oh, good morning, Natalie. I'm pretty good, thank you. And I'm very happy to see the Eagles flying high in the Premier League and Sky Blues leading the Championship by 7 points.
Wonderful. And my beloved Fulham also scored a win over the weekend. So, yeah, it was a good one all round, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, what stories have you got for us on the list this week?
We've got quite a lot, Natalie, so we better dive in, I think.
Absolutely.
As you know, the container shipping world has basically rearranged itself since February, and we now have completely new alliances in place.
It seems like the map of global container competition has been redrawn once again.
Oh yeah, it certainly has. And a company called CZ they provide market intelligence and stuff, and they say that anybody that's shipping containers by sea is going to keep seeing the ripple effects from this reorganization showing up in schedules, pricing, and routing over the next few years.
So, it seems like the saga will continue then, Ian.
Indeed.
So, what's happening in the business world this week?
Again, quite a lot. One thing that is a bit worrying, I think, is a company called Proofpoint has released a new report showing a spike in cyber attacks that are targeting trucking and logistics companies.
That does sound like a cause for concern for our members, Ian.
Yeah, it certainly is, and they're not subtle attacks either. Criminals are using fake logistics job ads and bogus supplier emails to trick staff into downloading remote access Trojans. And once they get in, as you know, attackers can pretty much explore your systems like they own the place.
So that's a timely reminder for us all then. If a job description sounds too good to be true, then it probably is.
Absolutely, Natalie. Meanwhile, new research from a company with a very difficult name to pronounce called Cloud, I think it's Ontigos Cloud anyway, suggests freight forwarders might be leaving 3 to 5% of their gross profit on the table.
Okay, so what's the solution to that?
Well, what they're saying it's like unbilled fees, underpriced lanes, and capacity mismatches. And with 2026 shaping up to be a tough year, too much container capacity, patchy demand, and geopolitical issues everywhere, you don't want to be losing money you didn't even realise you had.
Sure, and again, a timely reminder the importance of data accuracy has never been clearer.
Yeah, they say that forwarders who could turn data into daily decisions are going to be the ones who stay ahead. And as you say, it just shows how important data is. There's also a big new report out from the World Customs Organization, the World Trade Organization, and the International Chamber of Commerce about facilitation programs like AEO.
Okay, so what does the report say?
Well, to be honest, Natalie, it's not great news for small businesses. The report says that micro, small, and mid sized businesses, the MSMEs as they're known, are struggling to benefit because these programs are just too complex and resource heavy.
Okay, and what does the report go on to conclude?
Well, it says that it means fewer small firms are participating in international trade as a result, which slows down global economic growth overall.
It's funny you mention economic growth. It's budget week this week, isn't it?
It certainly is, yeah. I've no idea what the headlines will result from tomorrow's budget, but I know that BIFA members are hoping that there will be no further tax burdens on logistics, perhaps some more expenditure on key infrastructure. Some initiatives that help simplify trade at the border would be nice, and support with workforce recruitment and skills development.
Definitely would be. So let's keep our hopes up, shall we?
Absolutely.
So, what's going on in the world of air freight?
Well, as you know, there's been a huge run, very successful period for air freight, but demand is expected to cool a bit in 2026.
Okay, so who's been predicting that?
That's an industry consultancy called Rotate, but it also says that there's no need to panic. Long term, it still expects air cargo to grow around 3% per year, which is pretty much in line with global GDP predictions.
Okay. So, according to Rotate, which regions are the ones to watch?
I think they said the sort of South and Southeast Asia regions are both expected to outperform.
Okay, Ian, that's interesting. Thank you for sharing that. So, moving on to road freight now, what's the latest there?
Road freight, yeah. Well, on the roads, the BBC released a documentary last week called Lorry Crime Exposed.
Okay. Was it any good?
Yeah, it was actually. It dives into freight crime and supply chain security. And again, as you know, that's an issue which BIFA has been really pushing of late. And if you're in the industry, it's worth checking it out on iPlayer.
Well, we'll make sure we'll have a link to that in the description of this video as well. So, yeah, thank you for that, Ian. Is there anything else on your list?
Yeah, there's another little road freight story, and it's before we wrap up, it's an organisation called ESTA, which is a European group for companies involved in abnormal load transport and mobile cranes. And it wants operators to fill out a new survey that it's launched.
Okay, so this would apply to any viewer watching who's involved in the movement of heavy cargoes, essentially, or out of gauge cargoes.
Absolutely, yeah. They're trying to they're running this survey really to understand what's actually happening out there, and to get feedback on their idea for a kind of an airline style anonymous incident reporting system.
Okay.
And that's, to be honest, that's something transport could use quite a lot, I think.
Yeah, and again, we can pop a link to that survey in the description of this video as well.
Yeah, just bear in mind that if anyone does want to fill in their survey, they do need to respond before the end of this month.
Absolutely.
And that's it for this week. A lot of change, a lot to watch, and definitely a few things to prepare for.
Yes, Ian, there's definitely lots to think about for this week. So thank you for joining us for this edition of What the Papers Say.
No problem, Natalie. It's always a pleasure, as you know.
Thank you very much, Ian. As always, all articles discussed in today's episode will be found in the description below. That's all for today's episode of BIFA TV, your daily dose of industry information.